One thing I've always been taught is that you should respect your elders, and they don't get much elderer than Fandral. Now, I know about as much about this game's lore as I do about Kesha's preferred, non-sleeping positions. Hey, I can fantasize. So I looked it up. What's the wiki say about his age level?
It's over 9,000!
Fandral Staghelm is a one-phase fight, but since Fandral is a feral druid, he will repeatedly change forms, turning this essentially into a two-phase encounter. Don't be fooled by the fact that he's a night elf. This is easily one of the most difficult normal mode encounters in Firelands. Fandral Staghelm has around 180 million HP, and throughout the fight he can spawn Spirit of the Flame Adds with around 1.2 million HP each. You'll want to bring one tank, 6 to 7 healers, and a balanced mix of DPS. Though this boss can be difficult, thankfully he does not have many abilities. Fandral will shift between a cat form and a scorpion form throughout the fight. Occasionally, he will briefly remain in human form to cast a quick spell. We'll cover human form first, then his two animal forms. This is not the order your raid will encounter the abilities, but due to the nature of the fight, we'll be explaining things a bit out of order. Whenever Fandral shifts to human form, he will cast Fiery Cyclone on your raid, immobilizing and pacifying all players for 3 seconds. Immediately after this, he will choose to cast one of two spells, depending on the point you are at in the fight. Searing Seeds implants all players with a seed that will explode when the debuff reaches 0. Each player's debuff will have a different timer and can explode at a different time. The explosion will do moderate fire damage to all nearby players. His alternative human form spell is Burning Orbs. Fandral will summon multiple orbs around the room that attacks the nearest player for mild but stacking fire damage every 2 seconds. Each time Fandral shifts into an animal form, he will gain a stack of Fury. This spell increases the damage of his main 2 attacks, Leaping Flames and Flame Scythe, by 8%. Fury lasts and stacks throughout the encounter. Each time he uses Leaping Flames or Flame Scythe, Fandral will gain a stack of Adrenaline. This spell increases his energy regen rate by 20%, but the stack will drop whenever he shifts forms. Fandral has one special ability in each form. During Scorpion form, he will use Flame Scythe, an ability that deals 750,000 fire damage to players in front of him. This damage is split between all targets it hits and requires 100 energy for Fandral to use. In Cat form, he will instead use Leaping Flames. The boss will jump to a random player, igniting the ground he lands at and causing it to burn for moderate and fast-ticking fire damage. Like Flame Scythe, this ability also requires 100 energy to use. In addition, whenever Fandral leaps, he will spawn a Spirit of the Flame Add. These do no special abilities and only melee their primary target. Here's the basic idea of the fight. When the raid is stacked up, the boss becomes a scorpion, and when the raid is spread out, the boss becomes a cat. During these animal forms, he will use one of his 2 special abilities. The longer he stays in one form, the faster these abilities will begin to happen. Because of this, your raid will have to force him to shift forms before the damage gets out of hand. While you can start the fight in either cat or scorpion phase, we found it easier to begin in scorpion, and we'll be explaining the fight from that perspective. Start the fight by stacking the raid together. If you want to avoid all of Fandral's possible shape-shifting shenanigans, have a hunter misdirect the boss to your tank and let the tank stack up as well. Fandral should shift into Scorpion and your tank will pick him up. The raid should be stacked in front of the boss as he will use Flame Scythe throughout the Scorpion phase. This attack is used each time his energy bar reaches 100, so players can watch that and be ready for it. His Adrenaline stack will increase after every scythe, causing the next one to come faster than before. This will be a test of 2 things: how long your raid can manage through the damage of this ability, and how quickly your raid can spread out in order to shift him into cat when you decide to end the phase. Different counts will work for different guilds, but here we spread at 12 stacks of Adrenaline. This is made much more manageable by rotating raid cooldowns throughout the entire phase. Prior to the pull, work out an order for raid cooldowns such as Spirit Link Totem, Aura Mastery, and Barrier, and chain them together throughout the phase. As stated before, there is no set order to how long you can stay in Scorpion, but since the speed of Flame Scythe will constantly go up, it will be very difficult to spread out in time past 12 or 13 stacks. Whatever stack of Adrenaline your raid transitions on, you will need to spread out very quickly. Fandral will shift into cat anytime the raid is spread out, so you must spread fast to shift him fast. If you are too slow, he will not shift in time and can flame scythe again, killing half your raid. It's best to have players use movement speed increases or even a stampeding roar when spreading out to transition for cat. Try to loosely assign areas for people to spread out during cat phase. Simply assigning one group right, left, and back is enough. During cat, Fandral will use leaping flames. Each time his energy bar reaches 100, he will spawn a Spirit of Flame ad and pounce to a random raid member. Upon landing, he will spawn a large red fire circle on the ground that players will need to move out of. The tank will pick up the ad that spawns and tank it along with Fandral after he runs back. DPS should attempt to cleave down ads throughout the cat phase so they do not get too out of hand. Because the tank damage during cat phase can get quite high, be sure to use tank cooldowns or healer cooldowns when the ads begin to build up. The fire circles the boss leaves throughout the phase can potentially cut off parts of the room and add to the difficulty when attempting to transition back to Scorpion. Here, we transition at 7 stacks of adrenaline. Your raid may choose a lower or higher number, but because it will inevitably take longer to stack up than spread out, your raid will need to move very quickly. Stacking too slow will cause Fandral to possibly leap directly on the stack, and deal heavy fire damage to all players. Every third shift, Fandral will cyclone the raid and cast a special ability. If he is currently shifting into Scorpion when this occurs, the ability will be Searing Seeds. All players will be given the Searing Seeds debuff, but each player will have a different duration. This debuff will cause the player to explode for moderate fire damage to all nearby players when it reaches 0. The raid will need to remain stacked just like the previous Scorpion phase, but each player will be responsible for running out and back into the raid before they explode. These players cannot run out too early or the boss may shift into cat by mistake. A rule of thumb is not to run out of the raid until the debuff has 5 seconds left. Move a short distance, 15 to 20 yards from the raid, and immediately run back in after exploding. Try to avoid other players who are currently running out as well. Having a single explosion occur in the raid can mean an instant wipe. The next third transition will be into cat, during which the boss will cyclone the raid and cast Burning Orbs. This spell will spawn 5 fiery orbs in random locations around the room that burn the nearest player for mild but stacking fire damage. The best way to handle this is by assigning teams to stay close to each orb and alternate the orb focus between them. Kind of like a buddy system. For example, assign a mage and a warlock to one burning orb. The orb will attack the mage for around 5 seconds. The mage will then run out a bit and let the orb attack the warlock for around 5 seconds. After this, they will switch and continue this until the orbs despawn. What makes this tricky is surviving the orb damage while surviving the leap damage. Players will need to move out of the jump flames quickly without getting too far from their orb. As the fight goes on, the raid will be able to stay in each form for a somewhat shorter duration. This becomes a softened rage and can cause the fight to feel very frantic. Staghelm is one of the most difficult normal mode fights in the Firelands, and your raid should not get discouraged with wipes. Focus on making it through one phase at a time and worry more about consistency than trying to see the finish line. If you enjoyed this guide or found it helpful, remember to bookmark us at LearntoRaid.com, subscribe to us on YouTube, Blip, and Justin TV, and follow us on Twitter. As always, we hope this guide was helpful, and we'll see you at the next boss.
I wasn't feeling so good. I just didn't feel like playing anymore. So I went home, and I got all comfy and cozy and all scrunched up in front of my phonograph.